Hey everyone, Brian Zane here with my review of the 2025 Royal Rumble from Indianapolis, Indiana this past weekend. There's always a baseline level of excitement for me going into any Royal Rumble. Any given year, even during the bad times of WWE, I would be most hyped for the Rumble because there was always that air of unpredictability and excitement surrounding the Rumble match. And this year was no different. I was very pleased with how this show went, and I'm going to give you my thoughts about that as we go forward. Of course, the show begins, as it always does now, with those arrivals that are sponsored now. I don't know if that was a new thing for this show or if it's been going on, I didn't notice it, but yeah, the walk-ins are sponsored now. I love Kevin Owens rolling up in his tricked-out golf cart. Then we see Stephanie McMahon show up for the live crowd. She welcomes the fans. Biggest Rumble in history, says they. And before we go any further, this is a good time to talk about the news that Triple H is going to be the headline inductee into the Hall of Fame this year. It was sprung upon him, evidently, by Stephanie and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and he apparently, doesn't want to do this, and is very aw shucks about it. And, obviously, Triple H deserves it. He deserves his own solo induction. He's got the longevity. He's got a lot of great matches in his portfolio, obviously, and he's very big part in WWE lore. So, and he's also been very instrumental in the careers of so many other people, not just as a wrestler, but also as a, behind the scenes person. So I think yes, obviously he deserves to be inducted. I just think it's just very funny that we couldn't even go a full year in the new Paul Levesque era without the man being inducted into the own Hall of Fame. At least Vince McMahon never inducted himself. Say what you want about him otherwise. And obviously, I think the Triple H does deserve to go in, even if you look past the whole, it's his own company now sort of thing. But give it a little bit of time, is all I'm saying. I do appreciate the opening hype package, how we don't see the WrestleMania 14 Battle Royal, but I think we get a Slim Jim Battle Royal in there somewhere. We're off to the races. The opening matchup is the Women's Royal Rumble match, and I'll say this right off the bat, I do appreciate that new graphic presentation that they've done for the Rumble matches this year, the lower third with the names and the number of people who have been active and eliminated and who's next and whatnot. I thought that was really well done. That was really neat and just adds more to that sports presentation that WWE's been doing, really leaning into in the last year or so, and I think that's kind of a cool way to add that to the Rumble. And I look forward to seeing maybe what kind of ways they can modify or improve upon this in the years to come. Number 1 is Io Sky. Number 2 is Liv Morgan. Number 3, Roxanne Perez, the former NXT Women's Champ. Number 4 is the current/first Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. And number 5, it's Chelsea Green, the current and first Women's U.S. Champion. I think it's really cool they've added mid-card titles to the women's division across Raw and SmackDown and NXT. I think the naming of them could have been a bit more original, but be that as it may, I think that's really cool to have Lyra and Chelsea as your inaugural champions. You've got Chelsea, who is definitely, I think that championship is kind of the bow on top of just that year she had leading up to her winning the tournament. And then also for Lyra Valkyria, someone who's definitely the present and future of the women's division there, someone they're really putting a lot of stock in. They see a rising star. And so I think that's definitely a great launching pad for the both of them. At number 6, it's B-Fab. Number 7, Ivy Nile. I love how she sells the "you suck" chant when she runs to the ring. She's like, no, I don't. Get this cool double German suplex from her. Number 8 is Zoe Stark, moving all over the place. Chelsea fighting for her life on the apron at one point. Number 9 is Lash Legend. She's showing off the power early on, using Ivy Nile as a weapon. I love that. Chelsea eliminates B-Fab. And at number 10, we get Bianca Belair. Backflips upon backflips. Shayna Baszler's at number 11. Ivy actually eliminates Valkyria, and she indicates she's coming for Lyra's title. Number 12 is Bayley. Number 13, Sonya Deville, and the Pure Fusion Collective is in full effect now, just laying folks out. Number 14 is Maxine Dupree of the Alpha Academy, and I apologize if this has been addressed on air at some point and I just missed it, but why are they still called the Alpha Academy? She and Ivy Nile get into it, playing into their history. She hits the reverse caterpillar even. She takes out Ivy, but then the PFC take out Dupree. At number 15, it's Naomi. All three members of the Pure Fusion Collective are dumped out at once. Number 16, Jada Parker of NXT making her Rumble debut. Chelsea wants to be part of the Friends Circle. It does not work out. At number 17, Piper Niven, Chelsea's Secret Service Director. I love this gimmick, by the way, but she accidentally eliminates her own partner. Number 18, Natalya. Number 19, Jordynne Grace, the former TNA Knockouts champ, who is now just full-blown with WWE. She eliminates Jada Parker, hits Piper with a Death Valley driver, and has a pretty good run in this matchup. And that was a big story that broke before the Rumble, was that Jordynne Grace had officially signed with WWE. It felt very inevitable after last year's Rumble. And of course, there's that big TNA WWE partnership they announced earlier this year too. And you know what? I'm very curious to see how that partnership goes long term. I think in the short term already, I think that TNA has been kind of losing more and more of its own identity as they're bringing in NXT people. I don't think it's an inherently bad idea for them to be doing kind of the crisscross thing, but I do believe that at least a reason that some people watch TNA is that it's not WWE. And I think that with more of an integration, you might risk alienating that core audience, the hardcore fans who have been there for so long. And obviously for WWE, along with this new WWE ID thing they have rolling out for the indies, TNA just feels like another pipeline to the company now through, NXT and the main roster and beyond. So it's definitely WWE. It feels like they're kind of tightening their grip on the wrestling scene at large. We'll see how this holds out, or how this shakes out for TNA in the long run, and what they can gain, and if they will still have their autonomy and can still be distinctly TNA in the long term. We'll have to see about that. At number 20, Michin. Number 21, Alexa Bliss making a surprise return. We haven't seen her in well over a year. She even has a new Lily, and they make this big deal on commentary. Oh, the internet said that she was not coming back. Haha, the dirt sheets got it wrong. I mean, they actually reported there was just an impasse with contract negotiations, not that she wasn't coming back. But it makes sense they want to go after reporters now that the Janelle Grant lawsuit has been amended and new details have come out about that. But I know some people don't want me to talk about that in these videos, so we'll move on. As far as Alexa coming back, I'm mildly curious how it's going to go, especially because just in the time she's been gone, I feel like the women's division in WWE has already gone through this big maturation and evolution, especially now that TNA is that pipeline. I think that, I was never that big a fan of hers in the before time as a performer. I think that her stuff with Bray Wyatt had a lot of potential, and then the pandemic happened and just kind of wrecked so much of that. But now that she's back after a variety of reasons, I think she has been missed by a lot of fans. So for her to come back again in this, drastically altered environment since she's been gone, it's going to be, interesting to see how it will play out. Number 22 is Zelina Vega with a code red out of the corner early on. Number 23, Candice LeRae. Number 24, Stephanie Vaquer. Number 25 is the Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. She goes on a big run, hits Stratusfaction on Natalya. Cole mentions during her entrance that, she got her start in 2000 managing T&A. I loved that he had to enunciate that so hard, not to confuse it with TNA. Number 26, Raquel Rodriguez finally giving Liv Morgan some help. Morgan hits Natalya and Alexa Bliss with code breakers on the apron to eliminate them both, but I feel that would hurt her just as much as it does them. At number 27, Charlotte Flair makes her long-awaited return. She gets return pyro. Gosh, I wonder if she's going over. She takes out Michin, eliminates Piper. At number 28, it's the NXT Women's Champion, Julia. She eliminates Jordynne Grace. We get a face-off with Julia and Vaquer. They'll be facing off at Vengeance Day soon. We even get an NXT chant from the crowd. At number 29, it's Nia Jax. She yoinks Zelina off the apron and eliminates her before she officially gets in. It's just one of those crazy unwritten rules about the Rumble. What are you going to do? Trish eliminates Candice. Nia eliminates Trish. Then at number 30, actually another big return in Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. We had a very close call for Io and Wregret. 5 ladies at one point are just stacked on the apron. Nia just comes in and eliminates 5 or 6 people at once. Then she eliminates Liv Morgan. Bayley is gone, Nikki is gone, Charlotte dumps out Nia. It's down to Charlotte and Roxanne, and after some fighting, Charlotte kicks Roxanne off the apron and wins the Rumble. She is the first ever multi-time winner of the Women's Rumble match. I give it 4 stars out of 5. I thought it was a really strongly booked Rumble. I thought this was a great showcase for the strength of the women's division across the main roster and NXT. They all got a chance to shine. Pretty much everyone got a chance to do something in the matchup. There were some fun surprises and returns, a little dash of legend sprinkled in, both in literal name and stature in the business. And I think, the ending, it is kind of symbolic. I called Charlotte winning this matchup. I wasn't happy about it, but I just figured, well, she's coming back. It just makes sense, from WWE logic that she would re-debut, return, and immediately win. It's symbolic that, she topples the young prodigy in Roxanne Perez. I think she'll definitely have her chance to shine eventually. She's got a lot left in the tank, does Roxanne. So it sucks in that way. You kind of want it to be kind of the moment for somebody new, but, we'll talk about that as far as somebody new and someone unexpected winning a little bit later on. But yeah, overall, very strong Women's Rumble match. 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Tag Team Championship as DIY defend against the team they recently beat for it on SmackDown, the Motor City Machine Guns. These guys are just great. Everything they do in this matchup looks so effortless and easy. And I love the fact that the commentary team throughout the whole thing does a really good job kind of filling in the blanks and explaining the fact that these guys pretty much all have a mutual history going back like 20 years. And I think that really comes out in not just the commentary, but also in the action in the ring. I love the outcome of the first fall. DIY with a fake hot tag, and in the confusion, Ciampa lays out Alex Shelley and pins for the first fall. It's actually the same way that Sheamus and Cesaro beat the New Day many years ago for the tag titles and broke their record reign. So that's a finish you can only really get away with doing very rarely, but it's very cool. DIY with some sneak action. Ciampa crawls under the ring to keep the Guns from getting that tag. Sabin does get the hot tag, goes on a big run, lovely dive to the outside. He and Shelley hit skull and bones on Gargano to score the second fall, so it's down to the final decision. We get this double team blockbuster powerbomb combo on Ciampa, and oh no, the fall into the pinfall to break the count spot. My favorite. Ciampa's bleeding now. We get this accidental kick by Gargano to his own partner. Suddenly out come the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins just smacks Shelley with the crutch, and the champs retain, but then the Street Profits assault DIY, and they make really clear on commentary that they did that and helped them retain the belt so they can get revenge against them and take the belts for taking them out of action a while ago. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I think this match was perfect for what it was and where it was on the card, so I think it was just very good chemistry with these two teams, very solid work, and I also appreciate that it wasn't just a match and then you go on to the next thing. There was an angle right out of the gate coming from that with the Street Profits being involved. Ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship next as Cody Rhodes defends against Kevin Owens. It's the shiny modern belt and the winged eagle. I love how they've been incorporating that belt into this feud. The whole one night only return for Saturday night's main event, it seemed like too cool a thing to make just for one night. And I love that they turned that into an angle after the match where Kevin Owens steals it and claims himself to be the real champion, kind of delusional. I think that's just a really great angle. I love that he's been kind of like the whole t-shirt, the Canadian dream, son of a security systems technician. That's just a brilliant riff. And I think this whole storyline with Cody and Kevin's been really well done. They've really let this simmer for many, many months. And the way it finally reached that crescendo, we're cooking now. Honestly, I think that this has been the strongest storyline of Cody Rhodes' reign as champion. So the match begins. Cody is the first one to take a bump on the ladder, slam through one of those supports. We get fighting in the crowd. I love when Kevin throws Cody into the lens of the camera. Chekhov's ladder bridge is set up at ringside, and then KO brings out the little ladder. Cody briefly dangles off the belt hanger at one point. That was kind of scary. He gets yoinked off and and powerbombed. Ouch. Cody comes back with this like snap suplex on the ladder. He breaks off a bottom rung. I didn't know you could do that. And he attacks Kevin with it. I love when Kevin does the flip, flop, and fly at first, and he just like grabs the rung and just belts Cody with it. These guys are taking some gnarly bumps. I hate bumps like this. The ones where KO takes that backdrop onto the edge, or this powerbomb that Kevin gave Cody onto the ladder bridge in the corner. That looked like it sucked. We also get a top rope fisherman buster on another ladder bridge by KO. This was nuts. Trainers, EMTs, referees down as everyone's checking in on both guys. Sami Zayn shows up as well. Ooh, I wonder if he'll help anyone. He does not. Kevin gets busted open and Cody just hits this other emotional gear. KO sets up the package piledriver on the announce table, but Cody counters, hits the Alabama slam through Chekhov's ladder bridge. God, that bump looked absolutely ridiculous. Cody climbs the ladder, grabs the belt, and he wins. I give it 4.5 stars out of 5. Like I said, this was, the best feud that Cody's had since becoming champion, and this is the best match in the series he's had with Owens. And it is frustrating to see KO once again be a bridesmaid, not a bride, at the Royal Rumble, but I think he's just so good at making people regardless of that sort of thing. And, maybe he will get his chance. Who knows? But this is still Cody's time. And it was just a really brutal match at times, but it was done so well. And I think, again, the way that the storyline, the feud had progressed and elevated to this point, it all reached a really satisfying crescendo. On we go now to the main event, the Men's Royal Rumble match. At number 1, it's Rey Mysterio. And then at number 2, oh shit, let's run it back to Lucha Underground. Run it back to the Cow Palace, APW style. It's Penta. I do love how they are presenting him now in WWE. It's been a great first couple of weeks. I can't wait to see what they do with him here. I love how Rey gives him a little golf clap as well. At number 3, Chad Gable, the man who hates luchadors and also hates winning, which makes me sad. Number 4 is Carmelo Hayes. At number 5, Santos Escobar, who hits the 619 on Rey, 619 himself. We get a face-off with he and Penta. Chad is surrounded by these damn flippy kids, takes a quadruple super kick. At number 6 is Otis. He slaps Chad in the face and takes a deadlift German in response. At number 7 is Braun Breaker, who eliminates some folks. At number 8, it's Akira Tozawa, who is immediately jumped by a peeved off Carmelo Hayes, so he's out, I guess. Easy night for him. Who can replace Tozawa? Why, famous streamer iShowSpeed can, of course. They just had his graphic ready right there. Wow. He manages to help eliminate Otis. He does a backflip and gets his shit wrecked by Braun Breaker. He's thrown to the outside, caught by Otis, then dumped onto the table. That is a pretty brutal elimination. Number 9, Sheamus. Number 10, Jimmy Uso. Number 11 was Andrade, and they mentioned that he had come back the previous year at the Royal Rumble. That was his return. I'm like, wow, what an unremarkable year he's had since coming back. Because he was the Speed Champion for a little bit on Twitter, right? And then he had the series with Carmelo Hayes and Money in the Bank. But besides that, At number 12, Jacob Fatu, who goes on a big elimination spree. He's tied for most eliminations tonight. Number 13, Ludwig Kaiser, who takes his time getting into the ring, but it backfires. He's only in for 6 seconds. At number 14, it's The Miz. Even he does some good lucha things until he's flattened by Fatu. At number 15, Joe Hendry. Hell yes, the TNA champion making his Royal Rumble debut. I mean, you could see that coming a mile away with the success that Hendry had the last year. You just knew that they would capitalize on that with a little surprise appearance, and they certainly made good with it. At number 16, for the first time in 5 years, Roman Reigns is back in the Rumble match. He takes out The Miz, Sheamus, and Joe Hendry. Well, that TNA partnership's working as intended, but Breaker with a hellacious spear to Roman. Haha, psych, out goes Breaker. Fatu eliminates Jimmy Uso. We get the face-off with Roman, which gets a nice reaction. At number 17, it's Drew McIntyre. At number 18, Finn Balor. At number 19 is Shinsuke Nakamura, the US champion who never defends his title. But honestly, that is kind of par for the course for Shinsuke. Every belt he's ever won in WWE, he defends maybe once every 3 months before he loses it. Penta's hitting destroyers. He's caught by Balor and thrown out of the ring. Penta lasted 42 minutes, which was the record for the match. Number 20 is Jey Uso. He eliminates Shinsuke. Number 21, AJ Styles back for the first time since October with his old theme back. Number 22, it's Braun Strowman who eliminates Fatu. Number 23, his name is John Cena in his final Rumble match. He eliminates Strowman and Finn Balor. Oops, Strowman didn't catch Finn all that well. Number 24 is CM Punk. They are really backloading this Rumble, y'all. At number 25, Seth Rollins. Number 26, Tom and Nick Mysterio. Number 27, Sami Zayn. Number 28 is Damian Priest, who recently moved to SmackDown, and thank God for him. Like, I think they really just played he versus Judgment Day to death last year on Raw, and then once that was over, it's like there's really, what else can he really do on Raw at this point? SmackDown makes the most sense, so I'm glad he's there. Anyway, Dom is out. Number 29 is LA Knight. We get Yaz and Yeats exchanged. Jay accidentally kicks Sami Zayn out of the ring. At number 30, it's Logan Paul. Priest shoves Uso and Druso, and McIntyre ends up going out. Apparently, that was, I think people thought that was an accidental elimination, like it wasn't part of the script, bro. It looked pretty planned to me the way Drew took it, but I don't know. Logan Paul avoids elimination by leaping to the announce table. Knight eliminates Priest. Styles eliminates Knight. Then Logan jumps back into the ring and eliminates Styles. That's a pretty athletic heel move right there. Seth with stomps aplenty. We get a moment between Seth and Roman. Punk dumps Rollins and Reigns out of the ring. Then Logan Paul eliminates Punk. So your final three are Logan, Cena, and Uso. And that leads to this big fracas outside the ring between all three of them. It starts off like Roman yelling at Punk, "We were literally teaming a month ago," before, there's actually more than that, but who's counting? Before Seth hits a double stomp on a Roman on the floor, and then Seth does it again to Roman on the steps, and they act like, "Oh my God, he's dead." Seth is way out of line. He killed Roman Reigns out there. And then Punk and Seth are fighting, and this definitely feels like this is all planting them seeds for Mania, and I'll talk about that later. But then back in the ring, Cena goes for a double AA. It's broken up. Cena eliminates Paul. We get this back and forth with Cena and Jay as Michael Cole's lost his voice, teetering on the apron. Lots of close calls, but then Uso pushes Cena off the apron. Jey Uso has won the Royal Rumble, and Michael Cole makes a swear.
"You earned this, Jay!" Goddamn right he did!
I give it 4.5 stars out of 5. I thought this was a really fun, really well put together Rumble. Pretty much all killer, no filler in terms of star power in this one. Like when Otis is the guy who's lowest on the card out of anybody else in this matchup, it seems fairly well stacked. And I thought that, kudos to iShow Speed for getting in there and getting brutalized the way he did. Drew Carey could never, let's be honest there. Also, a totally unexpected winner. I believed that it was going to be John Cena getting the shot. A lot of people thought it was going to be CM Punk, the way they were really telegraphing that with he and Cody. So for Jey Uso to win, that is really out of left field. I don't think many people expected that, and it's good. I like that. I think we need more unexpected Rumble winners. People like to argue that the Rumble match is the one you use to make new stars, and they strap that rocket to them. And after the year that Jey Uso had the previous year, I think he could be on track for greater things in 2025. I think that he's not the best wrestler on the roster, but he gets some of the biggest reactions. He's a huge merchandise mover. He's a great representative for WWE today. And so, yeah, I think it makes total sense that he gets that. Especially, if this is kind of the end result of what the Bloodline created starting back in 2020, I think this has been a very cool arc that we're seeing Jey Uso enter right now. And so yeah, and the way that it happened too, like John Cena being the one to get eliminated at the end, what a way to put Uso over like that. I think that was tremendous. And that, I think the average star power in the match, along with Jey Uso winning so totally unexpected, I think really reinforces that kind of classic ideal that anybody could win the Royal Rumble. Rumble, which has been so lacking in so many of them historically, that idea that it's truly unpredictable. And so for it to be Jey Uso, I think that is actually a really good call. That said, my grade for the 2025 Ramble Rumble is an A-. I mean, for 4 matches, for each of them to be really good is very nice to have. It is kind of odd that they average 1 hour per match, but that's kind of a minor nitpick. You know, 2 really strong Rumble matches in my opinion, and the ladder match was fantastic, and the tag title match, again, was very good as well. And setting things up nicely for WrestleMania in the main event scene, like what's going to go on with CM Punk and Roman and Seth Rollins? Like, are they going to turn that into a triple threat at Mania? Will Punk be calling in his favor to get that, WrestleMania main event through Roman, I guess? What about Jey Uso? Which champion is he going to challenge? Is he going to get Gunther again, which I think is kind of played out? Let's have him go after Cody. Why not? I was thinking it was going to be Cena and Cody for the championship at Mania. It might still be that, but we'll see what happens with Jey. And how about John Cena? Is he going to get that title match? Or what's going to happen with him? Drew McIntyre? I mean, you could look at almost everybody in the Rumble, in the men's Rumble this year, and you could feasibly find a place for damn near all of them at Mania. So it's very exciting to see where they're going. I think they did a good job, again, planting those seeds and setting things up for Mania in Vegas. But what did you think of the Rumble, folks? And how about this review? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and hit that bell icon for all the notifications. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.